All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brian from Monaco Auto Design, and today we are talking about the design of the brand new Lamborghini Revuelto. I think I said that right. I hope I said that right. Today we're just strictly talking about the design, and while there's a lot to love about this new design, it's amazing, there are some things that I would change. So I have my photo loaded up into Photoshop right now, so let's get to tweaking, and then at the end of this video, let me know if you think I made it better or if I made it worse. This is always a lot of fun to do, so let's jump right into it. So the first thing that I noticed and the first thing that I loved about this design were those Y-shaped lights. I think that's probably the most prominent design feature on the front, especially in comparison to the Aventador. But one thing I did notice that it took up a lot of negative space on the front end. It almost just seemed like too big of a feature. So what I initially had thought might help that was to make that area a little bit smaller and also to kill two birds with one stone, in which case I'm also not a fan of how this line that comes from the front of the car, it doesn't end where the hood ends, and it seems like it just overlaps. And I understand that it follows this line coming off of the fender, but I think that could have been a nice way to make this, not only make this line flow a little bit nicer, but it also keeps that area a little smaller and a little tighter. So let's try that and see how that works as my first thing that I would change. Oh yeah, so you can already see what I was getting after there. So yeah, it just makes it feel, these areas feel a little bit more compact and a little more sleek, not as chunky. And yeah, it just makes the lines kind of flow a little bit better. I feel like this whole line here feels really nice, almost follows that line from the side vent. So let's see what else we can do. So, okay. One thing that I do love about this new design is the hood treatment. So on the Aventador, they had a one-piece hood, but then it also met the front bumper. And what that created was this really kind of odd break where the hood meets the bumper. It almost looked like a beak, and it was always an awkward area of the design of the Aventador for me. But what I love about this design is that the whole front end, or at least the hood piece, it just comes out and there's no bumper piece that meets it. It's almost like one big floating piece at the front. One thing that I wish that they would have done was add some sort of venting to give the hood just a little bit more draw. So if you remember on the Aventador, on the corners, kind of by the windshield, there were these tiny little vents, for example, and I thought about maybe doing that, but since this is more of a, looking forward into the future of Lamborghini and their design language, I wanted to take a cue from the latest, one of their latest designs is the Scion. So obviously there's a ton of cues that they took from the Scion, specifically the headlights, the vents on the side as well. So I figured that maybe like taking this center vent dealio could be a good solve to, again, bring a little bit more drama into the hood area. So these modifications may come later in more like performance-oriented versions of this car. So for example, like the SV, whatever that might be called, with the SVJ, for example. But for this, I felt like even the base model could have used some sort of hood treatment. So let's add a Scion style vent to this hood. Let's do that. That looks, I'm not gonna lie, that looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. It looks really nice. Actually, one more thing, I'm gonna put one of those little divider lines in the center there just to give it a little bit more of a feature. Maybe even a couple, let's see what happens. I'm doing this all airbrush, by the way, because I feel like it's the fastest way for me to make changes like this. And it might not be 100% realistic, but I feel like it's close enough to kind of get the idea. So hopefully you guys feel the same way. I think that looks pretty sweet. And actually thinking about it more, it kind of reminded me of what we see here. So that could have been another way to, tie in design from the rear to the front. And side note, I might do a rear version of this video. I know today we're mainly focusing on the front. So if you guys want to see that, do let me know in the comments or like this video. That'll tell me that you want to see it and I'll make it. It seems like there's more going on in the rear half of the car than there is in the front half of the car. So obviously I already added the vent on the hood, but I was thinking of another way to add a little bit more drama. And given the fact that we now moved this body line closer to the middle of the car, there's a nice area here that's kind of a blank canvas for something to go here. And I think what sticks out to me most is this side marker here, that maybe there could be a way to either hide that or add a feature or a vent of some sort to go there. And I think looking back at I believe the Centenario, yeah, here we go. I was thinking more of what the Centenario did, where it kind of like encapsulated that side marker. But let's add that vent that's in the same kind of style as the Centenario, and that'll bring a little bit more drama into this part of the bumper. What I'm thinking is that it would maybe be parallel with this. I think just going straight here is probably a good call, just to follow this line. There's no nude body line that I would probably follow to go up this way, so I would probably just start here, bring it out, follow this line so it's parallel, and then just cut it back in really quick. So far that's looking good. Let's keep going with this. Alright, so I added these little streaks in here as well to kind of match this, and even the rear of the car like I mentioned before. Okay, so just a really quick before and after check, you can see where we're at so far. The other thing, going back to the original photo, that caught my eye, and one thing that I noticed right away too, was the front bumper treatment, like the lower front bumper treatment, is pretty much the same as the Aventador, and I was hoping for a little bit more. Maybe what we do is we thicken up that piece a little bit. I think this little part that kind of jets out and up could be thicker, almost like the Technica. See how thick this is? It just looks a little more beefier, a little more bulkier. So let's thicken that up, and that'll, I think, give a little bit more visual strength to that area. Side note, one thing I don't like, and I know they have to be there, is these big giant radar sensors. I was hoping there would be a better way to kind of hide those, but I understand that they kind of have to be there. If you want the feature, they gotta look a little funky, I guess. So hopefully in the future they can find better ways to kind of hide that, a la, something more small like parking sensors or something. Let's finish this off and then we'll zoom back out and see where we're at and if we want to add anything else. As I'm doing this, I'm wondering, maybe we could make these a little higher too. Maybe they don't have to end right here. Maybe we can extend it, because this piece is already here, it's just black. Maybe what we could do is bring the body color up a little more, so that kind of fills that in. So let's give that a shot. So while I understand there probably was some reason I would think that perhaps they didn't bring the body color up this way, but you know what? This is why it's fun to have fun in Photoshop. Just kind of seeing what these little tweaks could look like, So let's do the other side, and let's then zoom back out again and see where we're at. That's at roughly the same height. Maybe lower it a tad. Yeah, that's good. And we didn't technically bring this in a little thicker, so let's do that too, really quick. I think we're pretty close. One thing I might do, just for the sake of this photo and for the sake of this rendering, is get rid of this Revuelto license plate frame. Okay, one last thing I think I want to try is this lower corner of the bumper. I almost want to match it to be something more like this, where the rear tire is, because this kind of seems flat. Now that we added this piece, let's kind of over exaggerate this area, and I think we'll be done. Couple minor details that I want to add really quick, just a couple little flares here and there. And then I actually want to add this crease. I want to follow that in a little bit more. So let's do this. All right, guys. So I think that's probably all I would change. If I had to change anything, again, I think this design as is, and I'll turn the original back on really quick. I think this is an amazing design. It's a huge leap forward for Lamborghini, and it's super exciting to see the new version of what was the Aventador and what was the Murcielago, and to see that continuation is really exciting to see where we're headed. This is only the beginning of the Revuelto's life, so I would think we have at least another 10 years of amazing things to look forward to with this car. But being that we just did the front view for this video, let me know first what you think. Did I make it better? Did I make it worse? You let me know. And if you'd like me to do the side angle or the rear view, I have thoughts on every single angle of this car, actually. So, and I think you would be interested to hear what I have to say about the rear end. But let me know if you want to see that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. It's always fun to throw these new cars into Photoshop and see what comes of it, see what new designs kind of pop up top of my head, and generate discussion with you guys. And like I said, comment below if you have any questions or comments or anything like that. I'm always active in the comments and replying. So yeah, thank you again for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more videos like this, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.